Hello everyone, welcome to Dnyanadeep Academy. So this is our daily answer writing program for geography optional. Now we are doing this program for last so many days. So almost 30 sessions have been conducted for Marathi. जर तुम्ही मराठीमधनं प्रिपेअर करत असाल तर मराठीचा पण डेली आन्सर रायटिंग प्रोग्राम असतो. 7:30 ला याचा व्हिडिओ यूट्यूबला येत असतो. इफ यू आर प्रिपेअरिंग इन इंग्लिश अगेन ज्ञानदीप अकॅडमीच्या यूट्यूब चॅनलला यू विल फाइंड दिस पर्टिक्युलर व्हिडिओ daily at 8:30 p.m. So I am expecting all of you will be following this particular schedule. Now there are upcoming batches of geography optional. So our geography optional English medium batch will start somewhere in July, and we have a very comprehensive coverage of that particular optional. So what we all include in this, so end to end syllabus coverage is there. Other than that, for every topic you are going to get topic wise notes. These notes are created by me, referring to multiple sources. I have referred to as many sources as possible, and I have also tried to include current affairs and contemporary issues which are not easily available, right? So they will be very beneficial to write very dynamic answers for your optional. Again, we have a very dedicated answer writing program as well as current affairs analysis for optional. So we'll see you somewhere in July, as and when these dates are available for this particular batch. We will see you there. Then मराठी मीडियम साठी पण सेम ऑप्शन जो आहे तो 25 जून पासून सुरू होतोय, आणि मराठी मीडियम मध्ये पण अगेन सेम गोष्टी आपण करणार आहोत. पूर्ण सिलेबसचा कव्हरेज असणार आहे. तुमचे मराठी मधले नोट्स, आता बघा डिस्क्रिप्टिव्ह पॅटर्न मध्ये एक सगळ्यात मोठा चॅलेंज जो आहे इट इज लाईक की मराठीमध्ये नोट्स अवेलेबल नाही आहेत. तर संपूर्ण ऑप्शनलचे UPSCच्या लेवलचे जे नोट्स असतील जिओग्राफी ऑप्शनचे, ते सगळेच्या सगळे नोट्स मराठीमध्ये प्रिंटेड फॉर्मॅटमध्ये ॲज वेल ॲज हँड रिटन फॉर्मॅटमध्ये तुम्हाला अवेलेबल असतील, राईट. आणि प्रत्येक टॉपिक आपण त्याच्यामध्ये कव्हर करणार आहोत. त्या नोट्समध्ये करंट अफेअर सुद्धा आहे, कंटेम्पररी इश्यूज जे काही असतील मागच्या 10-15 वर्षातनं जे काही इश्यूज आपल्याला न्यूजमध्ये दिसतात ते सगळे इश्यूज त्या एका पर्टिक्युलर नोट्समध्ये कलेक्ट करून दिलेले आहेत. केस स्टडीज असतील, खूप सारे एक्झाम्पल्स असतील त्याच्यामध्ये, आणि एवढं सगळं मटेरियल तुम्हाला दुसऱ्या कुठल्याच पुस्तकामध्ये मिळणार नाही. मार्केटमध्ये कुठलंही पुस्तक घ्या, एवढं क्युरेटेड मटेरियल ज्याला आपण म्हणू किंवा स्पेसिफिक एक्झामसाठी रिक्वायर्ड मटेरियल जे असतं तसं मटेरियल तुम्हाला मिळणार नाही. अदर दॅन दॅट उत्तरलेखन कार्यक्रम असेल, टेस्ट सिरीज सुद्धा असेल याच्यामध्ये, आणि वैकल्पिक विषयासाठी जी व्हॅल्यू ॲडिशन म्हणजे खूप सारे करंट अफेअर्सचे सोर्सेस आहे, काही ॲडिशनल बुक्स आहेत जे रेफर करायला लागतात, ते सगळ्याच्या सगळं रेफर करून आपण या ठिकाणी व्हॅल्यू ॲडिशन सुद्धा करणार आहोत. सो भेटूया 25 जूनला. पत्ता नोट करून घ्या, तारीख नोट करून घ्या, आणि या तारखेला आपला भूगोल वैकल्पिक विषयाचा मराठी माध्यमाचा कोर्स जो आहे तो सुरू होत आहे. मुव्हिंग ऑन टू क्वेश्चन फॉर टुडे. सो क्वेश्चन इज अगेन फ्रॉम settlement geography. So already we have covered population, then we did migration, and finally we are over to settlement. So we are right now doing settlement theory only. Theoretical question we have done in last couple of days. So there is one more theoretical question on settlement geography which is asking environmental issues involved in rural settlement. Now if you look at the syllabus, in syllabus there is directly a point, right? So environmental issues associated with rural settlements, and there is no specific material available for this particular point. So I have collected these particular points from various sources, and then we are going forward to this answer. Now there is not as a specific answer as is available for many other issues, but still we are supposed to write a good answer, and let's see what can be written in this particular part. Now when it comes to environmental issues, by and large there is a misconception, right? So back of your mind, when it comes to environmental issue, first thing which will be triggered will be urban settlement, right? So most of the environmental issues are experienced or witnessed in urban areas, and then because of this particular cloud on our mind or our observations, we are not able to identify what are the environmental issues of rural settlements, or let us say rural areas. Now here problem is there is no very watertight separation. If you say environmental issues of rural areas, right, so that will be very similar to that of environmental issues of rural settlement. So there is no separation as such. Whatever you can write for rural areas can also be written for rural settlement. So let us see how I can introduce. So in introduction I am saying that these rural settlement environmental issues are under highlighted, right? So I don't have very specific point to introduce, right? I cannot have a very specific example to quote for, because most of the rural environmental issues of rural settlements are often under highlighted. They are not as reported in newspaper, or not much noise is there regarding them, and that is why we don't have very specific cases, very specific example, or we don't have specific numbers regarding rural settlement environmental issues. And that is why I am taking a line that environmental issues of rural settlements are often under highlighted, right? Other than that, you can also talk about a very specific issues which is prevailing in rural areas or rural settlement. Typically in rural households, that will be respiratory ailments which are causing numerous deaths and lung cancer and many other the health issues, such as there will be some issues with your eyes, or there will be some other issues with the newborn child, so on and so forth. So there are many issues you will find because of indoor pollution, whatever chulha we burn, and that smoke results into all these health related concerns. So I am picking something from there. I am talking about, let's say, respiratory ailment. I will be talking about the number of deaths which are occurring as a result of respiratory ailments because of indoor pollution in rural settlement, and that is somewhere again I can link back to my particular question. But again, this you can go either way, right? I'm not much focused about respiratory ailments to be written in introduction, because somewhere or the other it is going to be repeated in my answer, and that is why I'm checking first line key environmental issues are under highlighted. Other than that, there are many issues such as groundwater and all, so you can make your choices accordingly. Moving on to the issues, let us see what all issues do we face when it comes to rural settlements. So first and foremost, the rural settlement expansion takes place at the cost of forest, or whatever agricultural land is expanded in rural areas, again that is taking place at the cost of these forests in the rural areas. And that is why I am going to highlight that there is issue of deforestation in rural settlements, right? And that is somewhere going to create environmental problems. Other than that, when it comes to rural fuel, even though we have schemes such as Ujjwala, we find that there is a significant amount of use of firewood for cooking purposes, right? And despite government providing these cylinders for free of cost, rural households are not able to refill those, and then they are again switching back to firewood, which will result into deforestation or cutting of trees in rural areas. So that is a major issue. Other than that, there is the requirement of construction wood in rural areas. Most of the rural construction is not taking place in terms of concrete, right? So whatever material being used is coming from these forests only, and that is why this is one more significant reason which is resulting into deforestation in rural areas. Other than that, I have the problem of overgrazing. Now this problem of overgrazing is typically restricted to rural areas only, right? Because whatever livestock farming is going to be there, obviously it will be in rural areas. And then in rural areas, if I have to talk about a very significant environmental problem, that will be overgrazing. So almost 31% of grasslands of India have been lost to this overgrazing problem. So this is a number given by Food and Agricultural Organization. So you can also make reference to this particular organization, which will give weight to your answer. Other than that, I have a problem of land degradation. When I say land degradation, this land degradation is coming out of various agricultural activities such as overuse of fertilizer, right? Overuse of water, that will also result into land getting bad, salts accumulation, or soil erosion, so on and so forth, and ultimately we can term all those issues as land degradation. Other than that, I have various types of pollution taking place. Water pollution is there. You have problem of air pollution in the indoor areas as well as in the outdoor these days, because there is a lot of stubble burning taking place in these rural agricultural fields. Now, indoor pollution, you can highlight more this particular part. Make sure that you are writing sufficient details on the issue of indoor pollution. You are also sufficiently mentioning numbers, facts, figures and case studies when it comes to indoor pollution. Now, why I am singling out indoor pollution? Because the issue of indoor pollution is stark in rural settlement as compared to urban settlement. Because if you look at urban environment, most of the urban environment is made up of let's say concrete walls, walls are very well painted, so on and so forth. But when it comes to rural households, in rural households you will find that these walls are often made up of soil or mud or that kind of material, natural material is used. Dampness is often found there, and then there is a problem of development of fungus or some pollen grains which are available, which are present in these indoor environments. Other than that, firewood burning is also contributing towards the problem of indoor pollution, and that is somewhere we have a major problem of indoor pollution in rural areas. So I'll highlight this particular issue more. Other than that, I have to highlight one more problem when it comes to environmental concern, the problem of open defecation. Now this open defecation is itself, you will say that this is a social problem. Yes, this is a social problem, but it is also contributing to the problem of pollution, because water bodies or any water reservoir is getting polluted as a result of open defecation, and open defecation is more prevalent in rural environments as compared to urban environments. So that is something we need to highlight here. Finally, there is a major problem of solid waste management. Again, this is a typical problem of rural area. Now, it's not like this problem is not present in urban area. This is also present in urban areas. If you go to urban areas, at least one solution has happened, that door-to-door collection of solid waste is taking place. But if I go to rural areas, I do not have any door-to-door solid waste collection, and there somewhere we find that the rural surrounding or the areas nearby rural settlements are now piling up with the solid waste, and that is resulting into huge environmental problem in rural settlement. Moving on to the solution, let us find what solutions can be given to this particular problem. So I can talk about creating environmentally sustainable rural settlement. Now you need to explore more on this particular part. Find what environmental sustainable rural settlement can be. You can also have your own idea in here. Now don't restrict yourself to books in this particular part. Study it well. Try to think on your own. Try to come up with solutions on your own. What all can be done to make these rural settlements sustainable or environmentally sustainable. Other than that, let's also talk about economic activity, various activities such as agriculture, livestock farming, that can also be made environmentally sustainable. So write all the points which are associated with the environmental sustainability of rural economic activity. Use of local material, or I can more emphasize on natural material here. Whichever is available in and the surrounding of rural settlement, that will also reduce the burden or the environmental footprint of that rural settlement. Other than that, I have sustainable agriculture or natural farming, something I can talk about. And most importantly, I have to say that I have to have a capacity building of local bodies, right? Because if we look at the problems of environmental problems of rural settlements in terms of environment, some of these problems are coming from the incapacity of local bodies. Awareness is not there, or sensitivity regarding environment is not there, and all these things needs to be highlighted or solved. Other than that, we also need to improve on capacity of these local bodies. So you can add as many solutions. Also find some case studies. There are certain villages in India which have been able to tackle the problem of environmental pollution, or the problem, various problems related to environment, and if you quote some positive examples from there, it will add weight to your answer. So I am expecting one or the other case study in this particular part that will make your answer look even better. Now moving forward to conclusion, you can give a generic conclusion here, because you cannot have a way forward in this particular part, because already you have given a lot of solutions. So try to sum up everything and give some or the other conclusion. Also, if you have some creative conclusion, please write it in comment box. I'll go through it. That will also be discussed in our upcoming session. So thank you everyone. We'll see you in next question.